MW3 Season 1 came with some unique weapons. One of those was the Stormender. This weapon was classified as a launcher and had an interesting description. It says it's an EMP weapon that can destroy electronics. But I was curious, how would it do in zombies? Would it do any damage? And how would it do against vehicles, helos? I wondered if it was called the Stormender, because it was really good against the StormCaller. I needed to know what it could do when it was Pack-a-Punch level 3, and it had some pretty cool abilities. When I landed with the base weapon, it seemed pretty weak. You have to charge the attack, and it takes a couple seconds, and it honestly did just little damage. But there are a few features that are kind of hard to see. This weapon has a near infinite range and hits all enemies as long as they are in the general vicinity around the reticle. It has a huge hitbox, including going through enemies, and the damage doesn't decrease with range or the number of enemies it passes through. This started to get me a little bit excited. It was then time to give it an epic Aether tool, and this made the damage actually pretty good in the gray zone. You could basically two-shot zombies easily. Then I packed it, and it became a weapon. The charge-up time was heavily reduced, and the damage was quite powerful. And it basically became an invisible beam weapon. And did I mention it has unlimited ammo? It just deletes gray zone zombies. I wanted to play around with it with an Outlast mission and found it absolutely obliterating zombies, which was quite fun to use. Getting thousands of kills for Borealis skin on this gun wouldn't be too boring. Watching the zombies explode can be really satisfying, especially long range or if you have a whole horde and they just melt away. This is why we started playing zombies in the first place. Once I went into higher tier zones, I started to realize another feature with the Stormender. It applies a slow to the enemies, and not just the basic ones, but the Hellhounds started clawing in slow motion, the Manglers charge their attack slower, and they run at you in slow motion. Look at this Mangler. Even the Mega Bombs start moving in slow motion. Just doesn't even move. And it works for all enemies, including the Red Worm. It would attack slower and less often. Oh my god, look at how slow it is. Now, however, the damage does fall off substantially in the orange and red zones. But as a utility weapon, it can do work. It just takes more shot. It'll still kill the basic zombies and dogs. Now, when Pack-a-Punch 3, I really didn't see it boost it a lot or give it a lot of more attack speed or an improvement on the slow. It really just doesn't add value past that Pack 2, so I would save the money for other weapons or Juggernaut or whatever else you need to survive. Now, when fighting the Red Worm, it does do that damage and slow. I thought maybe the shots would go through the worm, proccing damage multiple times throughout its body, but I don't think that it does, or even if it does, it's not very significant. But what I actually think is useful in that scenario is shooting at and slowing down all the other bosses and zombies that would spawn, allowing my team to focus more on the worm. I did another test run also going against vehicles, and specifically the attack helicopter over the Legacy Fortress, which we all know how annoying that chopper is. Now, I found that the Stormender did decent work, and it seemed to mess up the targeting of the attack helicopter. I wasn't even drilled like normal, and it took it down solo fairly fast. It also did quite well against the reinforcement helos, but sometimes just took a little bit too long. I know plenty of assault rifles, LMGs, that would kill it a lot faster Pack 3 and or other launchers. After the Stormender, I actually decided to pack the RPG, and this bad boy destroys a lot. And I'll probably do a video on this later. Make sure you're subscribed so you can see that one also. Both launchers actually did okay also in the Dark Aether zone, but the Stormender was once again more utility than anything else. It would slow down the enemy hordes so that my team could clear them, buy us time to recover and clear them out. The slow effect actually stacks, so you can really bring these guys down to a standstill and buy your team time, especially with a large area effect that worked pretty well. Now, it's called the Stormender. How does it fare against the StormCaller? I had to find out. In general, it had already performed really poorly against Disciples, so I really didn't have a high hope for the StormCaller. And when I showed up, I started firing. I'm pretty sure it just bugged out. Maybe the Stormender freezes the StormCaller when it's hit. I don't know. If you test it out, please let us know in the comments below. I'm not sure if this loadout is better than a lot of the other ones out there. I honestly usually go for pure damage over utility, and so I don't think it'd be good unless you have rare cases. Maybe in future events or seasons where you're in an area where there's very low ammo or an enemy that needs to be EMP'd or is full of electronics, that is the best way to take him down. down. So I would say it's pretty B tier. It is fun to use, and if you are a completionist, I'm sure you're going to have a blast leveling it up, but I will only be using it in specific scenarios. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you next time.